The laboratory floated in the cold darkness of space, far from any star or planet where curious eyes might find it. Inside the metal walls, bright lights buzzed over tables covered with strange tools and glass containers filled with green liquid. This was where the Kelhari Empire made their most secret weapons. Subject 77 Alpha stood in the center of the largest room. The scientists called her Nara, though she had no memory of choosing that name herself. She was tall, much taller than any human, with dark armor covering her skin like the shell of a giant insect. Her arms could change shape, turning into long, sharp blades when she needed them to cut or kill. Nara had been made in this place. She had no mother or father like other living things. Instead, the Kelhari scientists had grown her in their machines, adding pieces from different creatures to make her perfect for one job. That job was to kill humans. Dr. Veltar walked around Nara, checking her body with his 4 eyes. He was proud of his work. Nara was faster than any human, stronger than 10 humans put together, and smart enough to think like a human but without their weaknesses. She could not feel fear or sadness or love. These emotions made humans weak, and Nara had been built to have none of them. "Show me your blades," Dr. Veltar said in his clicking voice. Nara's arms began to change. The skin pulled back and sharp metal grew out, forming 2 long swords attached to her body. The blades were so sharp they could cut through steel like paper. She moved them in perfect patterns faster than the eye could follow. "Good," Dr. Veltar said. "Now we test your knowledge." The room around them changed. The walls became screens, showing a human town with small houses and people walking on the streets. Children played in a park while their parents watched. Old people sat on benches feeding birds. It looked peaceful and happy. "Destroy them all," Dr. Veltar commanded. Nara moved into the fake town like a shadow of death. Her blades cut through the holographic humans without any sound. Men, women, children, old people. It made no difference to her. They were all targets to be removed. Her computer brain counted each kill and marked it as complete. She moved through the park where children had been playing. Her blades swept through them like wheat in a field. She felt nothing as their images disappeared. The computer in her head told her this was correct. Humans were weak and needed to be removed so stronger species could take their place. The test ended, and the fake town disappeared. Dr. Veltar smiled with his wide mouth full of sharp teeth. "Perfect," he said. "You have killed 300 humans in 4 minutes. No human weapon can stop you." Nara stood still, waiting for the next command. She had been designed to follow orders without question. The idea of saying no or choosing her own path had never been programmed into her mind. "In 3 days you will go to the human colonies," Dr. Veltar continued. "You will kill every human you find. Men, women, children, all of them must die. When you are finished with one world, you will move to the next. You will not stop until all humans are gone." "I understand," Nara said. Her voice was flat and cold, like metal scraping against stone. But as she spoke, something strange happened. For just a moment, less than a second, an image flashed in her mind. It was from the test she had just completed. A human female had been holding a small human child, trying to protect it with her own body. The woman had looked at Nara with eyes full of something Nara did not understand. The image was gone as quickly as it came. Nara did not know why she had remembered it, or why it felt different from all the other kills. She had been programmed to forget unimportant details, but this one seemed to stick in her mind like a thorn. Dr. Veltar noticed her pause. His 4 eyes focused on her face. "Is there a problem, Subject 77 Alpha?" "No problem," Nara replied. "I am ready to complete my mission." Dr. Veltar watched her for a few more seconds, then nodded. "Good. Report to the conditioning chamber. We will make sure your programming is perfect before you leave." The conditioning chamber was a small room with metal walls and no windows. Nara lay on a table while machines attached wires to her head. Electric pulses ran through her brain, making her muscles twitch. The machines were checking every part of her programming, making sure she would obey orders without question. Dr. Kenthra, another scientist, watched the readings on his screen. Most of the numbers looked normal, but one reading was slightly different than it should be. It was so small that most people would not notice it, but Dr. Kenthra had built many weapons like Nara. He knew what normal looked like. There is something wrong, he told Dr. Veltar. Her emotional suppression is not at full strength. She may be developing independent thoughts. Dr. Veltar's eyes narrowed. Independent thoughts were dangerous in a weapon. They could lead to disobedience or, worse, rebellion. Increase the suppression, he ordered. Fill her system with loyalty compounds. Make sure she cannot think of anything except her mission. The machines pumped new chemicals into Nara's blood. The chemicals were designed to make her completely loyal to the Kelhari Empire and to make her hate humans even more than before. As the drugs entered her system, the strange image of the woman and child faded from her mind. When the treatment was finished, Nara felt nothing but cold purpose. She would kill humans, because that was what she had been made to do. She would not question orders or think about anything except completing her mission. Dr. Veltar tested her one more time, showing her images of human families and children playing. Nara looked at them with no emotion at all. They were just targets waiting to be destroyed. Perfect, Dr. Veltar said. Load her into the transport pod. It is time to send our weapon to war. As Nara was placed into the sleeping chamber that would carry her to human space. Her last thought before the drugs made her unconscious was of her mission. She would wake up near a human colony and then she would begin the work she had been created for. But deep in her mind, buried under layers of programming and chemicals, that image of the woman protecting her child remained. It was small and weak like a tiny flame in a great darkness. The scientists thought they had erased it, but some things are stronger than programming. Some things refuse to die. The human colony ship Horizon Dawn tumbled through space like a broken bird. Black smoke poured from holes in its metal sides where pirate weapons had torn through the hull. Inside the ship, red warning lights flashed and alarms screamed warnings that everyone already knew. They were going to crash. Captain Day ran through the shaking corridors shouting orders to his crew. Get everyone to the escape pods. Women and children first. His voice was calm, even though his heart was beating fast. He had been a ship captain for 20 years, but he had never lost a ship before. In the medical bay, Dr. Sujin worked quickly to save the medicines and medical tools they would need after the crash. She was a small woman with gentle hands, but she moved with the speed of someone who knew that every second mattered. Her daughter Hana sat in the corner holding her favorite toy bear and trying not to cry. Mama, are we going to die? Hana asked. She was only 5 years old, but she was smart enough to know they were in danger. Sujin stopped packing for a moment and knelt down next to her daughter. She brushed Hana's black hair away from her face and smiled, even though she was scared too. No, my little star, she said softly. We are going to land on a planet and build a new home. It will be an adventure. Hana nodded, trusting her mother completely. Will there be flowers on the new planet? I hope so, Sujin said. We will plant some if there are not any there already. The ship shook harder as it entered the atmosphere of the planet below. Through the small window, Sujin could see green forests and blue rivers. At least they were crashing on a world that could support human life. The impact threw everyone to the floor. Metal screamed as it bent and broke. Then, slowly, everything became quiet except for the sound of small fires crackling and people calling out to each other. Captain Day's voice came over the ship's speakers. All sections report. We are down, but alive. Prepare for evacuation. 300 people had been on the Horizon Dawn when it left Earth. Now they crawled out of the wreckage onto the soft grass of an alien world. Some were hurt, but most were just scared and confused. They had been traveling to a new colony world with prepared cities waiting for them. Instead, they were stranded on a planet with nothing but the supplies they could save from the crashed ship. Dr. Sujin set up a medical station under the shade of strange purple trees. She worked without stopping, cleaning cuts and setting broken bones. Hana helped by bringing water to the injured people, and holding their hands when they were scared. "You are very brave," Su-jin told an old man whose leg was broken. "The bone will heal and you will walk again." The old man smiled weakly. "Thank you, doctor. You have magic hands." What none of the humans knew was that they were being watched. High above them, invisible to human eyes, Kelhari spy satellites had detected the crash. The aliens had been tracking human ships for months, waiting for the right moment to test their new weapon. In the forest 2 miles away, a metal pod fell from the sky like a shooting star. It hit the ground with a sound like thunder, leaving a deep crater in the earth. The pod's door opened with a hiss of escaping gas and Nara stepped out. She was even more frightening in the real world than she had been in the laboratory. Her dark armor gleamed in the sunlight and her forearms moved with deadly grace. Her computer brain immediately began scanning the area, looking for human life signs. Found them. 300 humans, 2 miles northeast. Mission parameters: eliminate all targets. Nara began moving through the forest toward the crash site. Her feet made no sound on the soft earth, and her armor changed color to match the trees around her. She was invisible, a ghost of death moving toward unsuspecting prey. As she got closer, she could hear human voices. They were talking, laughing, even singing. This confused her programming. Humans who were about to die should be afraid, not making happy sounds. She climbed a tall tree and looked down at the human camp. Her enhanced eyes could see everything clearly. The humans had built small shelters from pieces of their broken ship. They were sharing food and water, taking care of each other like a family. Nara's targeting system began marking humans for elimination. Priority targets: the armed guards; secondary targets: the healthy adults; final targets: the injured, elderly, and young. But then she saw something that made her pause. Dr. Su-jin was kneeling next to a young boy who was crying. The boy's parents had been killed in the crash, and he was alone and scared. Su-jin took the boy in her arms and held him while he cried. She stroked his hair and whispered soft words in his ear. "It will be okay," she said. "You are not alone. We will take care of you." Little Hana came over and offered the boy her toy bear. "He helps me when I am scared," she said. "You can hold him." The boy stopped crying and hugged the bear. Hana sat next to him and began telling him a story about brave space explorers. Nara watched this scene through her scope, and something strange happened in her programming. The targeting computer marked the woman and child as threats to be eliminated, but Nara found herself studying them instead of planning their deaths. Why was the woman taking care of a child that was not hers? It was not logical. It wasted time and energy that could be used for her own survival. And why was the small girl giving away her possession to a stranger? The questions bothered Nara because she had not been programmed to ask questions. She had been programmed to kill, not to wonder about human behavior. As night fell, she watched Dr. Su-jin put Hana to bed on a blanket under the stars. The woman sang a soft song in a language Nara did not understand, but the sound was gentle and peaceful. Hana fell asleep with a smile on her face, completely safe in her mother's arms. This display of tenderness created errors in Nara's combat systems. Her weapons did not activate when they should have. Her targeting computer kept glitching, unable to lock onto the woman and child properly. Nara tried to run a diagnostic on her systems, but everything appeared to be working normally. The problem was not with her hardware or software. The problem was something else, something her creators had not planned for. She was beginning to feel. Dawn came slowly to the crashed colony, painting the sky in soft colors of pink and gold. The humans were still sleeping in their makeshift shelters, tired from their first night on the alien world. They did not know that death was walking toward them through the morning mist. Nara moved like a shadow between the trees. Her mission was simple and clear: kill all humans, leave no survivors. She had done this 1,000 times in simulations. Real humans would be no different from the holographic ones she had destroyed in the laboratory. The first guard died without making a sound. Nara's blade arm pierced his heart before he could even see her. The second guard had time to open his mouth to scream, but Nara's other blade cut his throat before any sound could escape. She moved through the camp like a storm of death. Her targeting computer guided her to the most dangerous humans first. A man with a rifle became her third victim. A woman with a knife became her fourth. Each kill was perfect, silent, efficient. But as she worked her way deeper into the camp, something began to go wrong. Her weapons system started giving her conflicting signals. Target acquired, eliminate immediately. But also, warning, unknown emotional interference detected. Nara ignored the warnings and continued her mission. She killed a mechanic who was trying to fix a radio. She killed a farmer who was checking on the food supplies. She killed a teacher who was comforting frightened children. The camp was waking up now. People were finding the bodies and screaming. Some ran in panic while others tried to fight with whatever weapons they could find. But human weapons were no match for a Kelhari bioweapon. Nara cornered a group of survivors near the medical station. Her blades were red with blood, and her armor was splattered with evidence of her kills. The humans backed away from her in terror, but there was nowhere to run. That was when she saw them again. Dr. Sujin was standing in front of the medical shelter, with little Hana hiding behind her legs. The woman's face was pale with fear, but she did not run. Instead, she spread her arms wide to protect her daughter. "Please," Sujin said, her voice shaking but brave. "If you must kill someone, kill me. But let the children live. They have done nothing wrong." Nara's targeting system locked onto both targets. Woman, adult female, threat level minimal. Child, human juvenile, threat level 0. Both marked for immediate elimination. Her right blade arm rose to strike. The movement was automatic, controlled by her programming. But as she looked down at the small girl clinging to her mother's dress, something inside her mind began to crack. Hana was not cowering in fear like the other humans. Instead, she was patting her mother's arm gently. "It's okay, Mama," the little girl whispered. "Don't be scared, I'm here with you." The child was comforting her mother even though she was the one in danger. This made no sense to Nara's logical mind. Children were supposed to seek protection from adults, not offer comfort to them. "Run, Hana," Sujin whispered. "Run and hide." But Hana shook her head. "I won't leave you, Mama. We stay together." Nara's blade arm trembled. Her targeting computer was screaming commands at her. "Execute targets now. Mission parameters require elimination of all humans." But something deeper in her mind was fighting back. For the first time since her creation, Nara spoke without being given a command. "Why do you protect her?" she asked. Sujin looked up at the alien monster with surprise. She had not expected it to speak. "Because I love her," she said simply. "She is my daughter. A mother always protects her child." "Love," Nara repeated the word. It was in her language database, but she had never understood what it meant. "What is love?" "It is caring more about someone else than you care about yourself," Sujin explained, still shielding Hana with her body. "It is being willing to die so they can live." Nara's blade arm lowered slightly. These words were creating chaos in her programming. Her creators had removed the capacity for love from her design because it was a weakness. But if love was weakness, why did it make this small human woman so brave? The neural implant in Nara's head began pumping loyalty chemicals into her bloodstream. The drugs were designed to override any thoughts that might interfere with her mission. Kill the humans, complete the mission, serve the Kelhari Empire. But even as the chemicals flooded her system, something else was happening. Deep in her mind, memories were surfacing. Not the programmed memories of combat training, but older ones. Fragments of her creation, when she was just a small creature in a glass tank. She remembered other bioweapons being grown alongside her. Her brothers and sisters, though the scientists never called them that. She remembered how they were separated when they got too attached to each other. Attachment was weakness, the scientists said. Love was failure. But what if the scientists were wrong? Nara looked at little Hana again. The child had stopped hiding behind her mother and was now looking directly at the alien weapon. There was fear in her eyes, but also something else. Curiosity, wonder, even a strange kind of compassion. "Are you hurt?" Hana asked, pointing at a cut on Nara's arm where a human bullet had grazed her. "Mama can fix it. She fixes everyone." The innocence in the child's voice shattered something inside Nara's mind. Her programming screamed at her to kill, but a new voice was speaking louder. A voice that sounded like her own thoughts, not the commands of her creators. "I cannot," Nara whispered, lowering her blades completely. "I cannot kill you." The neural implant sent emergency signals to the Kelhari fleet, reporting a critical malfunction in their weapon. But it was too late. The crack in Nara's programming had become a flood. For the first time in her existence, she was making her own choice. "Run," she told Sujin and Hana. "Take the others and run. More will come. Others like me who cannot choose." Sujin grabbed her daughter's hand and began to run, but she paused and looked back. "Thank you," she said. Nara watched them disappear into the forest, and she felt something she had never experienced before. It was warm and painful at the same time, like sunlight on a wound. Later, she would learn that humans called this feeling guilt. She had killed innocent people. She had destroyed families. She had done exactly what she was created to do, and now she understood why it was wrong. As the emergency signals from her implant grew stronger, Nara made her second choice. She would not return to her creators. She would not be reprogrammed or destroyed. She had learned what love meant, and she would use that knowledge to protect it. The weapon had become something new, something her creators had never intended and could never control. She had become free. The emergency signal from Nara's neural implant screamed across space like a desperate cry for help. On the Kelhari command ship, Commander Veltar watched the readings with growing anger. His perfect weapon had malfunctioned at the worst possible moment. "Send a retrieval team immediately," he ordered his officers. 3 bioweapons, full combat configuration. If 77 Alpha cannot be repaired, she must be destroyed. The 3 new bioweapons were loaded into drop pods and fired toward the planet's surface. They were Nara's siblings in a way, grown from the same genetic templates but with newer, stronger programming. Where Nara had been allowed to develop some independence for better tactical thinking, these 3 had been built to follow orders without question. Their names were simple numbers: 12, 15, 23. They had no individual personalities, no capacity for doubt, and no ability to feel anything except the satisfaction of completing their missions. Meanwhile, in the forest of the alien world, the surviving humans had found shelter in a cave system deep in the mountains. Only 150 of the 300 colonists had escaped Nara's attack. The others lay dead in the camp, victims of the perfect killing machine the Kelhari had created. Captain Day paced back and forth at the cave entrance, his rifle ready for another attack. His face was grim with the knowledge that his people were trapped with nowhere to run. Their ship was destroyed, their communications equipment was broken, and help was months away, even if they could call for it. "We should hunt down that alien monster and kill it," said Jin Ho, one of the surviving security officers. "It murdered half our people." "And then what?" Captain Day replied. "More will come. We saw the drop pods falling from the sky. Our enemy has an entire fleet up there." Dr. Sujin sat in the back of the cave with Hana sleeping in her arms. She had not spoken much since their escape, but her mind was full of questions. Why had the alien spared them? What had changed in those final moments when death seemed certain? "Mama," Hana whispered, waking from her nap. "Where is the sad alien lady?" "What do you mean, little star?" Sujin asked. "She looked sad when she saw us," Hana explained, with the simple wisdom of a child. "Like she didn't want to hurt anyone, but had to anyway. Is she lost like we are?" Before Sujin could answer, a sound echoed from the cave entrance. Heavy footsteps were approaching, too heavy to be human. The colonists grabbed their weapons and prepared for another attack. But when the figure appeared in the cave mouth, it was not attacking. Nara stood there with her blade arms retracted, her armor scarred from battle. Green blood dripped from several wounds where Kelhari weapons had hit her. Do not shoot, she said in her strange mechanical voice. I am not here to harm you. Like, hell you're not, Jinho snarled, raising his rifle. You killed my brother, you monster. Captain Day held up his hand to stop the security officer from firing. Something was different about the alien. Her posture was not threatening, and her weapons were not active. Why are you here? Captain Day asked. To warn you, Nara replied. 3 more like me have landed. They will find this place soon. They will kill everyone, and I cannot stop all 3 alone. You expect us to trust you? Jinho demanded. After what you did? Nara looked at the angry human for a long moment. No, she said finally. I do not expect trust. I have done terrible things. I have killed innocent people. But I have learned something since then. What? Captain Day asked. I have learned what I destroyed, Nara said, her voice carrying a weight of sadness that surprised everyone. I have seen what a mother's love looks like. I have watched a child comfort her parent in the face of death. These things are more valuable than any mission. Dr. Sujin stood up slowly, still holding Hana. You're different now, she said. I can see it in your eyes. I am what you made me, Nara replied, looking directly at the doctor. When you chose to protect your daughter, when she chose to comfort you, you showed me something my creators tried to take away. You showed me that some things are worth dying for. Hana wiggled out of her mother's arms and walked toward the alien weapon. The adults gasped and reached for her, but the little girl was not afraid. Are you still sad? She asked Nara. Nara knelt down so she was at the child's eye level. Up close, Hana could see that the alien's eyes were not cold and empty like they had been before. Now they held something that looked almost human. Yes, Nara said softly. I am sad because I hurt people who did not deserve to be hurt. I am sad because I cannot bring them back. Hana reached out and touched Nara's armored hand. My mama says being sorry is the first step to being better. The simple kindness of the gesture sent shockwaves through Nara's entire system. This child, who had every reason to hate and fear her, was offering comfort instead. It was exactly the kind of illogical, beautiful human behavior that had broken her programming in the first place. Why do you not hate me? Nara asked. Because you're trying to be good now, Hana said with the clear logic of innocence. Good people help each other. The sound of distant explosions interrupted their conversation. Through the cave entrance, they could see flashes of light in the forest as the 3 new bioweapons began their systematic hunt for human survivors. They will be here soon, Nara said, standing up. I must go and face them. You can't fight. 3 of those things alone, Captain Day protested. I know, Nara replied, but I must try. It is what a mother would do to protect her children. As she turned to leave, Dr. Sujin called out to her. Wait, what's your real name? Not the number they gave you, but who you choose to be. Nara paused at the cave entrance. She had never been asked that question before. She had always been Subject 77 Alpha, a weapon with a designation instead of an identity. I do not know, she admitted. Then I will give you one, Sujin said. Your name is Hope, because that is what you have given us. Hope. The word resonated in Nara's mind like a bell being struck. It was a human concept, the belief that things could get better even when they seemed impossible. It was the opposite of everything she had been programmed to be. Hope, she repeated, tasting the sound of her new name. Yes, I am Hope. She walked out into the night to face her siblings, carrying her new identity like armor. She was no longer just a weapon created to destroy. She was Hope, the protector of innocent lives, the guardian of love itself. The final battle was about to begin, and for the first time in her existence, Hope was fighting for something instead of against it. The 3 bioweapons moved through the forest like death itself, their sensors scanning for human life signs. They were perfect killing machines, just as Hope had once been. But unlike her, they felt no doubt, no hesitation, no spark of something greater than their programming. 12 was the largest, built for raw destruction. His arms were massive clubs that could crush stone. 15 was the fastest, designed for hunting down fleeing targets. Her legs were like springs that could launch her incredible distances. 23 was the smartest, equipped with advanced tracking systems and tactical analysis programs. They had found the abandoned human camp and analyzed the battle site. The blood patterns and body positions told them everything they needed to know. Their sister had malfunctioned during the mission. She had allowed targets to escape. 7-7 Alpha must be terminated, 23 reported to the others. She has become unreliable. Agreed, 12 growled in his deep voice. Failure cannot be tolerated. They followed the human trail toward the mountains, their sensors, detecting the heat signatures of the survivors hiding in the cave system. But they also detected something else. Another bioweapon signature, moving to intercept them. Hope waited for them in a clearing where the moonlight filtered through the alien trees. She had chosen this place carefully. The open ground would prevent them from surrounding her completely, and the soft earth would absorb the impact when bodies hit the ground. Sister, 23 called out as the three weapons entered the clearing. You have failed in your mission. Return with us for reprogramming. I am not your sister, Hope replied, her blade arms extending, and I will not return to those who made us into monsters. You are defective, 15 hissed, her voice like the sound of escaping gas. We will correct your malfunction permanently. The battle began with explosive violence. 12 charged forward like a living battering ram, his club arms swinging, in wide arcs that could have crushed a tank. But Hope had learned something her siblings had not. She had learned to fight for something other than duty. She dodged 12's attack and drove her blade deep into his shoulder. Green blood sprayed across the clearing as he roared in pain and fury. Before she could withdraw her weapon, 15 attacked from behind with lightning speed. Hope spun and caught 15's clawed hand just inches from her throat. The two bioweapons grappled in a deadly dance, their enhanced strength making the very air around them vibrate with tension. Why do you protect the humans? 15 demanded, her face twisted with confusion and rage. They are weak, they are inferior. They are something we can never be, Hope replied, throwing 15 across the clearing with tremendous force. They are free. 23 had been circling the battle, analyzing Hope's fighting patterns and looking for weaknesses. He was the most dangerous of the three because he could think tactically, but his analysis was based on the assumption that Hope was still following her original programming. He was wrong. Hope fought like no bioweapon had ever fought before. Where her siblings used brute force and mechanical precision, she used creativity and intuition. She fought not just with her weapons, but with her heart. Every move was driven by the memory of Dr. Sujin protecting her daughter, of little Hana, offering comfort to a stranger. She fought for love, and love made her stronger than any programming could. The battle raged for what seemed like hours. Green blood mixed with the alien soil as the four bioweapons tore at each other with savage fury. Hope was outnumbered and outgunned, but she had something her siblings lacked. She had a reason to win that went beyond simple obedience. The turning point came when 23 made a critical error. In his tactical analysis, he had calculated that Hope would prioritize her own survival above all else. So when he launched an attack that would leave him vulnerable but guarantee a killing blow, he expected her to dodge. Instead, Hope took the hit. 23's blade pierced her chest, missing her heart by inches. But her sacrifice put her in the perfect position to strike back. Her own blade found its mark, cutting deep into 23's processing core. The tactical bioweapon fell to the ground, his systems shutting down one by one. Impossible, he whispered with his dying breath. You should have preserved yourself. That is the difference between us, Hope said, pulling his blade from her chest. I have learned that some things are more important than survival. 12 and 15 attacked together, desperate to finish their malfunctioning sister. But Hope was ready for them. She had been hurt, but she was far from defeated. The pain only reminded her of what she was fighting for. In the distance, She could hear something that gave her strength. It was the sound of little Hana's voice singing softly to comfort the other frightened children in the cave, the same lullaby her mother had sung to her on their first night on this alien world. That song was everything Hope's creators had tried to destroy. It was gentleness in a harsh universe. It was hope in the face of despair. It was love conquering fear. Hope fought with the fury of a mother protecting her children. She was not their biological parent, but in her heart, she had adopted every human in that cave. They were her family now, and family was worth dying for. 15 fell next, her speed no match for Hope's determination. 12 lasted longer, his massive strength keeping him in the fight even after receiving mortal wounds. But in the end, even he could not stand against an opponent who fought not for programming, but for love. As the last of her siblings fell silent, Hope collapsed, too, her knees in the clearing. Her armor was cracked, her weapon systems were failing, and green blood was pooling beneath her. She had won, but the victory had cost her everything. Footsteps approached through the forest. Dr. Sujin emerged from the trees, followed by Captain Dai and little Hana. They had heard the battle and come to see if their unlikely protector had survived. "Hope!" Hana cried, running to the fallen bioweapon side. "You're hurt." Hope managed a smile, an expression that should have been impossible for a Kelhari weapon. "I am more than hurt, little one. I am dying." Dr. Sujin knelt beside Hope and began examining her wounds. Her medical training told her immediately that the damage was too severe. The bioweapon systems were shutting down one by one. "Why?" Sujin asked, tears running down her face. "Why did you sacrifice yourself for us?" "Because you taught me what a mother's love can do," Hope whispered, her voice growing weaker. "You showed me that some things are worth protecting, even if it costs everything." Hana took Hope's large hand in her small ones. "Will you be okay?" Hope's eyes focused on the child's face, memorizing every detail. "I will be better than okay, little star. I will be free." As her systems failed one by one, Hope felt something she had never experienced before. Peace. She had been created as an instrument of death, but she was dying as something far greater. She was dying as someone who had chosen love over hatred, protection over destruction. "Before I go," Hope said with her last breath, "I want you to know, you did not just save your daughter that day in the camp. You saved me too. You taught a weapon how to become something more." Her eyes closed for the final time, but her face held an expression of perfect contentment. The monster had become a guardian. The weapon had become a mother. The creation had become free. In the weeks that followed, human rescue ships arrived to evacuate the survivors. They found the 3 dead bioweapons in the forest clearing, and they found something else. Hidden in Hope's armor was a data chip, containing the location of every Kelhari weapon facility in the galaxy. Dr. Sujin kept that chip safe, knowing it was Hope's final gift to the human race. It would allow them to free other bioweapons, to give them the same choice Hope had been given. As their rescue ship prepared to leave the planet, Hana asked her mother if they could visit Hope's grave one more time. They had buried the bioweapon beneath the purple trees, marking the spot with a simple stone. "Will other people know how brave she was?" Hana asked. "Yes," Sujin replied, placing a small bouquet of alien flowers on the grave. "They will know that sometimes the greatest weapons are not the ones that destroy, but the ones that choose to protect." Across the galaxy, the story of the bioweapon who learned to love spread from world to world. It became a legend, a reminder that even in the darkest corners of the universe there was always hope for redemption. And somewhere in the Kelhari Empire, other bioweapons began to dream of freedom, inspired by the memory of their sister who had chosen love over programming, sacrifice over survival. Hope's legacy lived on, proving that a mother's love truly could destroy anything, even the hatred that had created the perfect weapon.